Hi, everybody. Welcome to CFP Board Certificate Connection webinar. I'm Kevin Keller, CEO of CFP Board. Got a little bit of a cold today, so if I sound a bit scratchy, that's the reason. Joining me here today are two distinguished CFP professionals. Kamila Elliott is chair of our board of directors for another month and a half, and then Dan Moisand, who is currently Chair-Elect, will be Chair of the Board in 2023. Today we have updates for you on some recent CFP Board meetings, including our latest Board of Directors meeting, as well as our Research Colloquium and Diversity Summit. We'll share updates on CFP Board strategic priorities with a special look at a few exciting initiatives that will be our focus for the coming year or two. And most importantly, we'll be answering your questions. But before we get started, let me cover a couple housekeeping items. If you run into issues with the audio, or if it seems like the slides are out of sync, you should refresh your webinar console. Press F5 or Control-R for Windows systems, or Command-R if you're on a Mac. There is a Q&A function on your screen that you can use to submit questions to us at any time during the program. We'll address as many of the questions as possible during our hour, and if we don't get to your question, we will follow up with an answer via email. So Kamila, why don't you start us off with some of the updates from last week's board meeting?
Certainly, Kevin. The past few weeks have been busy ones for the CFP Board and the Center for Financial Planning. Last week, the Board of Directors held our final in-person meeting of this year. Financial Planning held two important events in Washington, D.C. First, we had the Academic Research Colloquium for Financial Planning and Related Disciplines. This was our 6th annual colloquium, and these events have convened some of the very best researchers and thinkers from across the United States and around the world. The colloquium plays an important role in supporting the researchers and academics who contribute so much to advancing the profession's body of knowledge. It is important for the profession's future growth that we address the shortage of faculty within our CFP Board registered programs, whether adjunct or tenure track. We want to help academics get the recognition needed for tenure in academic advancement. And the Center's academic journal, Financial Planning Review, provides a respected avenue for publication of research. The review is now in its 5th year, and CFP professionals have access to it through their online CFP Board account. The latest edition includes a number of interesting articles, including one on work-life balance and burnout in financial planning profession. If you haven't had a chance to read it, I encourage you to do so. The Center's annual colloquium, again, featured a series of Best Paper Awards presented to authors of selected papers on various topics. And I had the wonderful honor of presenting a brand new award. The CFP Board Center for Financial Planning Career Legacy Award is intended to recognize the recipient's contributions to the financial planning profession through scholarship, research, mentorship, or service. And the first recipient of the award is Dr. Sherman Hanna of The Ohio State University. As an award-winning educator, researcher, and editor, we thank Dr. Hanna for helping launch the financial planning careers of so many, as well as advancing the profession's body of knowledge. And just a couple of days after the Academic Research Colloquium concluded, the Center hosted another important event, its annual Diversity Summit. The Center's 5th Annual Diversity Summit was held on October 27th in Washington, D.C. CFP Board and the Center are committed to advancing diversity and inclusion in the financial planning profession, and our diversity summits are an important part of this commitment. Since 2013, when we launched the Women's Initiative, we've expanded our work in support of diversity to address diversity more broadly, including race and ethnicity and other demographics. We believe it is important for the future of the profession that the financial planner workforce reflects the diversity of the U.S. population. Our work to diversify the ranks of CFP professionals has made an impact. At the end of 2021, the number of Black and Hispanic CFP professionals grew to 4,196, an increase of 13.8% over 2020. That increase is nearly 4 times the growth rate of all CFP professionals. We also hit all-time highs in the number of new women, Black, Hispanic, and biracial CFP professionals. So we are making progress. The theme of this year's summit was Impact, Advancing Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion within the financial planning profession. The summit brought leaders from across the profession together with experts in diversity, equity, and inclusion to connect and collaborate on actionable solutions to advance diversity. And in the coming weeks, a new report on the metrics, research, and best practices that can be used to advance diversity in the profession will be released. So please keep an eye out for this publication. In the meantime, I encourage you to take a look at the reports released from past diversity summits on CFP Board's website at cfp.net/diversity summit. All of the work of CFP Board and the Center is focused on our strategic priorities, which you see here. Each priority supports CFP Board's mission and vision. And together, they will not only propel CFP Board, they will propel the entire financial planning profession toward a successful future. Let me turn things over to Dan, who can share more about the initiatives advancing our standards and certificate and workforce priorities.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you, Kamila. As many of you know, CFP Board sets, administers, and enforces both competency and ethical standards for CFP certification. A few years ago, CFP Board reviewed and updated our ethical standards, now known as the Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. Well, as we enter 2023 and the 50th anniversary of the creation of the CFP certification, it's time to review our competency standards of education, experience, and examination. The Board of Directors has established a Competency Standards Commission to validate current requirements and/or recommend changes for improvement that address the competency of candidates for CFP certification and the continued competency of existing CFP professionals. It's a very large project. We're very much looking forward to see what comes from that commission. It wraps in a lot of questions that we've gotten over the last many years about, what are we doing with CE and what are we doing with this and what are we doing with that. Everything is basically on the table. So more to come on that. Our vision for the profession's future can only become a reality with a more diverse and sustainable workforce. The workforce priority is one that's especially important for the profession's future. demand for planning has never been stronger than it is today. More and more Americans are seeking the peace of mind that comes from working with competent and ethical financial planners who take a holistic view of their clients' finances and goals. Financial planners are enjoying rewarding careers, helping people manage their finances and achieve their goals, and they're reporting extremely high satisfaction with their career choice. Yet, firms of all sizes are struggling to fill financial planning positions. I can't look at a trade magazine or get on a website without some article about talent shortage and the need for more people to enter our field. Substantial work is going to be required to establish a sustainable pipeline for future financial planning talent. And CFP Board recognizes that it's in a unique position to bring together leaders from across the financial advice ecosystem to launch a national movement to address this critical workforce issue. And one way we're looking to do that is through a new initiative that CFP Board is planning that will raise awareness of financial planning careers among college-bound students. Young people today don't know what a CFP professional is or what we do for the most part. In fact, young people today have little awareness that financial planning is even a career option. We need to change that. We need to generate awareness among younger demographics about the rewarding and in-demand careers that CFP professionals enjoy. During 2022, CFP Board conducted some market research for this initiative. This included college-bound high school students, college freshmen, sophomores, as well as their parents. While awareness of financial planning careers is low, and in some cases the perception of financial services was quite bad, we are finding messages that make these groups want to learn more. The irony of it is, even if they had a negative perception of financial services when they describe an ideal job for their children, or their children describe jobs that would appeal to them, they describe jobs that have the characteristics of financial planning. So when we provided brief information about the financial planning profession, the parents certainly understood it. And they quickly recognized the financial planning's value as a potential career option for their college-bound kids as a valid one. Through our research, we're identifying and validating key messages that generate positive perceptions of financial planning careers and lead students to pursue financial planning degrees. We're pretty excited about this initiative, which has great potential to strengthen the financial planning workforce. It will advance CFP Board's workforce priority and also provide great value for financial planning educators as well as new talent for your practices. A number of other current initiatives that are having an impact on our workforce priority are being led by CFP Board's Center for Financial Planning. The Center's programs are having a positive effect on all of CFP Board's priorities, but especially workforce and access. The Center's programs are helping to strengthen the talent pipelines so essential to cultivating a quality and sustainable workforce. As Kamila noted, the Center's programs are also achieving success in advancing diversity and inclusion. We want the community of CFP professionals to more closely reflect the diversity of the American public. CFP Board and the Center have developed a number of career development resources available to you and your firms to help in that effort. The Center's mentorship program connects individuals preparing to take the CFP exam with volunteer CFP professionals who can help them prepare for that experience. The Center's Career Center provides job listings for CFP professionals as well as individuals pursuing CFP certification. The Center also includes listings for internships. If your firm has internship opportunities, you can post them to the CFP Board Career Center free of charge. The Center has also published 2 career guides. The first is focused on current financial planners and firms with guidance to help firms recruit, onboard, train, develop, and retain the next generation of financial planners. And the second is focused on helping students and career changers get an understanding of what financial planning careers are about and how to get started. You can find these guides and other career development resources on CFP Board's website at cfp.net/career-center. Another initiative that's helping expand the talent pipeline and make an impact in the number of new diverse CFP professionals is the Center's Scholarship Program. The Center's first scholarship program was established in 2016, and today there are 17 scholarships in partnership with generous corporate and individual donors. Most provide awards to help cover the cost of the education program for initial certification, with a few providing funds to help cover the cost of exam prep. Almost all these scholarships are focused on providing financial awards to diverse individuals from underrepresented populations. Earlier this year, Kamila told us of the news that we have our first endowed scholarship program in the name of LeCount Davis. LeCount was the first African American to earn CFP certification back in the late 70s. The scholarships are specifically for individuals who identify as Black or African American, and we're proud to announce that the board topped off the fundraising for the scholarship and is now fully funded.
But Dan, you know, we can always take more.
Can always take more. That's right. There's plenty more to go. Yes, and it is paying off. At the end of 2021, the center had reached the milestone of 180 scholarships, providing about $800,000 in help. That total amount awarded now exceeds $1 million, and we're on track to have $500,000 in scholarships awarded in 2022 alone. You can learn more about all of these programs at cfp.net/scholarships. So we have a few accomplishments that we're proud of and many initiatives to be excited for in the coming year. And I'm looking forward to next time when we'll be able to share more on how these new initiatives can advance the profession. Kevin?
Dan, thank you so much. We are all excited about the new initiatives to strengthen the profession. Without a review and evaluation of the current certification competency standards, we cannot ensure that the requirements remain valid, relevant to advancing the practice of financial planning. Without a strong workforce, we can't expand the public's access to financial planning. These are important priorities not only for CFP Board, but for the entire profession. Changing gears, our 2022 advertising was in the field from mid-March through the end of May, and advertising continues throughout the year on digital channels. As we do each year, we measure the campaign's progress, and we conduct brand tracking surveys with an independent research firm. This year, the study found that total awareness of CFP certification among the target audience reached 87%. That is a 4% increase over last year's total awareness, and also the highest we've seen since our first public awareness campaign launched in 2011. Awareness is the primary goal of the campaign, but this year we also focused on making progress with the next step down the marketing funnel. That would be to increase preference for a CFP professional. Our study found that preference for CFP certification among the campaign's target audience reached 79%. Again, that is a 4% increase over last year's preference measurement and more than a threefold increase since 2011. Next year, the campaign will feature all new advertisements, and we are currently in the process of developing the new ad concepts and testing them with consumer audiences. And in fact, we will shoot those ads next month in Southern California. We look forward to sharing the new ads with you before the campaign launches next spring. I also want to mention that yesterday we announced the start of a public comment period on proposed changes to our procedural rules. The procedural rules outline our processes for enforcing the Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. We periodically update the procedural rules to strengthen the enforcement process. We want to ensure that our enforcement process remains credible to the public and at the same time is fair to those whose conduct is being evaluated. We hope everyone will take time to review the proposed changes and share your input with us. We will be accepting public comment through January 23rd, 2023. You can submit your input through the online form at cfp.net/procedural rules. So we've covered a lot this afternoon so far. Let's go to your questions. We've got a number of them that have come in, and want to hop right on them. One I want to go to right off the start is a question: what is currently being done to expand the CFP professional network internationally? How many CFP professionals are currently outside the U.S.? And the reason I wanted to start with that is because CFP Board this evening and tomorrow, as well as Thursday and Friday, we'll be hosting 22 CEOs from CFP granting organizations around the world. So the Financial Planning Standards Board CEOs are in town. They're meeting here at CFP Board, and that's a good thing. The number of CFP professionals worldwide crossed the 200,000 mark. I believe we're at 204,000. More CFP professionals outside the U.S. than here in the U.S., and more CFP professionals total worldwide than CFA charter holders. So that's a little fact that sometimes people find surprising. All right, Kamila, we've had you talked about the Diversity Summit. We've got a number of questions here about the Diversity Summit, and some of them, quite frankly, wonder why we do it. So David writes, I'd like to understand how the Diversity Summit helps anyone. How will diversity in our profession help clients? We've had other similar situated questions. Somebody asked, do I have to be a certain race in order to serve that race, or do I have to be a certain sexual orientation to serve that orientation? I'm going to let you answer that one.
Yeah, and thank you for that question, David. And we look at it, diversity is important for the profession as a whole, as well as for the public. Research has shown us that diversity contributes to business success, from serving customers to recruiting and retaining talent, also to innovation. So to get a little bit more information about the benefits of diversity within the profession and your practice, I encourage you to take a look at the report released after the Center's 2019 Diversity Summit, titled Why Diversity Matters, How Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Accelerate Business Success in Financial Services. And you can find that at cfp.net/diversity summit. The publication reviews the research supporting CFP Board's commitment to advancing diversity. And, as I mentioned earlier, our diversity summits serve an important role for leaders from across the profession, who are dedicated to advancing diversity. These events bring together people from all levels of financial planning with DE&I experts and our center staff. They not only provide attendees a valuable opportunity to learn, share information, and network, but attendees also leave the event energized and motivated to keep up their work. So when we think about our profession, we want to make sure that we're inclusive of all the public, and that, our profession mirrors that public, and they feel they have access to that confident and ethical financial planning.
Hey, Kamila, can we take that one step farther? Because the makeup of the United States population is changing and changing rapidly. I still think that's a really important reason to consider diversity.
Yeah, you're right, Kevin. When we think about, the U.S. population, 16% of the population is Hispanic, 13% of the population is Black. And, we did share statistics of diversity, but unfortunately our profession is still behind. And if we want to, lift everyone up financially, ensure people have access to wonderful financial advisors or CFP professionals, I should say, it's important that they see themselves in our profession and that so they can work with someone that understands their experience. To David's earlier question, we don't think that you have to be Black or Hispanic to work with a Black or Hispanic individual, but it's important that your firm understands the cultural differences and nuances in working with certain populations. And the best way to learn is to have a firm that's diverse and inclusive, and we can share this information with others and share the information with you so you can best serve your clients and best, help them reach their financial goals.
Thanks, Kamila. Hey, Dan, here's one for you. Leonard asks, when will we make continuing education requirements more meaningful?
Okay. Well, the CE requirement as it stands right now for recertification is 30 hours every 2 years. Includes a pre-approved 2-hour program on CFP Board's ethical standards, and then the other 28 hours have to be related to one or more of CFP Board's principal topics. The requirement as it currently stands does allow you a lot of freedom to select courses on your own. One way that I make it more meaningful for myself is I know that I am much better in a live setting than taking in CE courses online. I get a little distracted and the mind wanders and things like that. So part of it is frankly our own initiative to make it meaningful for us. What's meaningful and interesting to one person might not be for another. All that said, though, as I mentioned, we've commissioned a competency review commission, and everything is on the table, including the CE. Is 30 hours the right number? Is 2 hours the right number on ethics? Do we need to be requiring, different minimum hours in certain topics? Do we need to recertify? Literally everything is on the table for competency. One topic that comes up a lot is the bachelor's degree requirement that was put in 20 years ago. Some people see that as an impediment, and others see that as an important part of a professional level certification. So, the Commission's going to grapple with that and come up with recommendations. It'll all be put out for public comment. We want the CE to be meaningful. We want the CE to be of appropriate quantity and appropriate quality, and we'll be looking at ways to assess the quality, all of that. It's all on the table. It's going to take a little while. There won't be any proposals in the spring of 2023, but it's an exciting project because of that, because so many of these things have not really been looked at in a while, and I don't know that we've ever, as an organization, had a comprehensive review of those standards.
Well, Dan, I've been here for 15 and a half years. We haven't done it while I've been here. I'm looking forward to it. As you said, it's likely a good 2-year, 24-month effort. So we'll get that underway next year. Kamila, for you, Martha asks, why is the certification renewal cost going up so much this year? We had a number of questions that came in about the renewal fee. So I'll let you have that one.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Martha. I understand, cost matters, but, the Board of Directors' decision to increase the annual certification fee by $100 beginning this October was made only after careful consideration of many factors. And the factors is that the fee increase directly supports our ambitious strategic priorities. Many things we discussed with you this afternoon or this morning, depending upon your respective time zone, this is where the additional fee is being aligned to. So they're designed to advance recognition of the financial planning profession, and the value of working with a CFP professional. A major part of this is our work to promote CFP certification to the public. Another is the focus on workforce development that Dan shared with us earlier today. It is very important that the CFP Board have adequate resources to advance our strategic priorities. I would note that in addition to the certification fee increase, the board also committed millions of additional funds from CFP Board's reserves. CFP Board has also made other fee changes, including changes to the pricing structure for registered programs and CE sponsors. So when you think about the fee increase, it's really advancing the profession, it's improving the workforce, it's improving the research, and it helps you in the long end really be able to help support your clients at the end of the day.
Yeah, Kamila, thank you. I'll take this next question. Paul asks, why are the increased fees? Why are the fees being increased on CFP Board registered programs? You just talked about that. I guess what I would say is, first of all, we value all of our registered programs and the great work that they do in helping prepare the next generation of financial planners. Registered programs play an important role in our work to strengthen the profession's workforce and expand the public's access to CFP professionals. Registered programs benefit greatly from CFP Board's candidate marketing. CFP Board has established a goal of increasing the number of exam takers who come from degree-granting registered programs, and our 5-year plan includes an ambitious goal that we expect that will generate thousands of new CFP professionals, the majority of whom will need to complete education at a registered program. We considered all of these factors when we looked at how to best fund the strategic initiatives that we've talked about today. I want to jump back here on the Competency Commission. Claire writes in. Claire's had a lot of questions today. Claire, I can't get to all your questions. One you asked was, how do we make our voices heard to the Competency Commission? And what I would tell you is any proposed changes that the Commission makes to the Board of Directors and then the Board subsequently thinks are worth hearing, possibly implementing, any proposed changes to education, experience, or exam standards will go out for comment. So the way to make your voice heard is to, when you see CFP Board asking for your feedback, is to give us your feedback. We take it very seriously. Dan, next question for you. Marianella, I believe is how she pronounces her name. What is CFP Board looking to do to regulate the use of marks by folks who don't work for organizations that operate in a fiduciary capacity? It's a topic that comes up from time to time. Dan?
Yeah, well, CFP Board certifies individuals. We can't say that somebody is good or bad simply by where they work. CFP professionals make a commitment to CFP Board to act as a fiduciary when providing financial advice to a client. That means they have to act in the best interest of the client and adhere to all the duties that are in the Code of Ethics and the Standards of Conduct, duty of loyalty, duty to follow client instructions, duty of care. CFP professionals, they can operate in a fiduciary capacity as far as we're concerned, how they'll be evaluated, even at firms that don't allow their employees to advertise as fiduciaries. When CFP Board learns of a CFP professional failing to uphold the duty, their fiduciary duty that they committed to by becoming a CFP professional to the CFP Board, that matter will proceed through our enforcement process. And we have a number of case studies in our resource center on our website that could be helpful on this and many other topics. If you don't see a topic covered, send us a suggestion. But our resource group wants to help CFP professionals meet their obligations, but we're very serious. If we learn of somebody that's not meeting their obligations and not acting and meeting the duties, their fiduciary duties that they've committed to by becoming a CFP professional, then they're going to go through that disciplinary process.
Dan, you know, there's a narrative out there that CFP Board wants to be a regulator. You know, that's what we're doing. How do you address those folks who say that?
Well, they're not on the board of directors, so that's not what we say, right? Our job is to decide who gets to use the CFP marks and who doesn't. That's it. We do not have, you know, I have personal opinions about what regulation should look like in an ideal world, and we're not there, but it's not a goal of CFP Board to assume a governmental regulatory role. You know, maybe years down the road, things will evolve to a point where that makes sense and is doable. But for right now, we got to stick to what we do best, which is determine who uses the CFP marks through our competency standards and who gets to keep them through competency and ethical standards. So we need to focus on improving all of those things, our enforcement function and the competency standards, and hence the commission. So when you hear somebody say we're vying to be the regulator for financial planning and, you know, do this, that, or the other, it's just garbage, frankly.
Well, Dan, you know, it is a topic that comes up, and I typically talk about the 230-some designations on the FINRA website, designations, most of whom, probably all of whom, which have a code of ethics or some kind of standard statement. But when it gets right down to who actually enforces their standards of those 200-plus designations, it's CFP Board, AICPA, the CFA Institute, and our friends at the Investment and Wealth Institute. Beyond that, we can't find any evidence that anybody else is promoting those. The public's relying on us to make sure that if somebody has CFP after their name, that we've done that job. So thank you. I'll take the next question here. Daniel asks, how is CFP Board addressing cryptocurrency and its means of diversification, an investment type or a hedge? While digital assets, aren't called out specifically on CFP Board's list of principal knowledge topics, they are part of the alternative investments and liquidity risks topic. As with any emerging asset class, there are both potential benefits and risks, obviously after this past weekend to crypto investing. What I would say is within the next week to 10 days, CFP Board will provide guidance to CFP professionals about using digital or crypto assets with clients. That document will be available at cfp.net/guidance. Kamila, a couple of questions related to our public awareness campaign. Donald asks, could CFP Board have more targeted ads on what a CFP professional is, what do they have to do to earn the certification, and how CFP professionals can be in a better position to help a client. At the same time, Cody asks, what is CFP Board doing as part of its awareness campaign to educate the public about what financial planning is, how it's done, and why it's important? I'll turn that over to you, Kamila.
Yeah, thank you for your questions, Donald and Cody. Raised a number of important topics. Our public awareness campaign is focused on increasing consumer awareness of CFP certification and CFP professionals, as well as increasing consumer preference for working with a CFP professional. So when it comes to developing the advertisements and related materials, our team is laser focused on those two objectives. And that means that the advertisements are based on consumer research and reflect what resonates with consumers rather than what we as CFP professionals might want to see in those ads. With that said, all the advertising drives consumers to our campaign website, letsmakeaplan.org, which provides extensive information about the value of planning, the planning process, financial topics you might discuss with your CFP professional, and why people should choose a CFP professional for their financial planning. The website is also updated weekly with content written by our CFP Board ambassadors based on timely and most search topics as well. So we're basically using the awareness campaign to drive awareness regarding the CFP certification, but we also agree that it's important that there's meaningful content to help people through that financial planning process, and there's a litany of content on letsmakeaplan.org to do just that.
Thanks, Kamila. Next couple of questions I'll take. They're from two new CFP professionals. First, Joseph asks, is it possible to extend the mentorship program beyond mentorship to help folks be successful on the exam? Joseph says I could really use the help of a mentor to learn more about the profession of financial planning. So Sophia asks, how can I connect with new CFP professionals near me? So Joseph and Sophia, congratulations, first of all, on earning CFP certification. The profession's membership organizations, FPA and NAPFA, offer great opportunities to network with other CFP professionals, both at the national and local level. If you're not already a member of NAPFA or FPA, we encourage you to check out the opportunities. And Joseph, if you took advantage of the exam mentorship program, you might reach back out to your mentor and see if she or he would like to continue that relationship or if they can recommend a colleague. So good questions there. Dan, a question from Dean. Does CFP Board support FPA's Title Protection Initiative?
Okay. Well, you know, title protection, I mean, it's a terrific concept, and it's desired by many planners. It just makes good common sense, right? You shouldn't call yourself a financial planner unless you're actually competent to do financial planning or even actually do financial planning, right? However, it can get very complex very fast. FPA has been saying that it plans to take its time, gather input from the many corners of the ecosystem, financial planning ecosystem, and you know, we think that's the right way to approach it. Makes good sense. We look forward to being part of that and providing our input. FPA describes itself as the leading membership organization for CFP professionals, and therefore, of course, we're hopeful that when they do have a specific proposal that they want to advocate for, it'll be based on the competency and ethical standards of CFP certification, of course. So yeah, that's where they're at, and that's where we're at with it, and we'll see.
Dan, here's a somewhat related question. John asks, how can we stop insurance agents from using the title financial advisor?
Yeah, well, unlike term investment advisor, which is actually defined in regulation, right, or certified financial planner professional, which is defined and trademarked by CFP Board, financial advisor doesn't really have a formal definition, does it? It's become a general term used for those who provide some sort of financial advice. That could include insurance agents, but it could also include bankers, accountants, lawyers, credit counselors, lots and lots of people. This is obviously a source of confusion for consumers. Unfortunately, It would take government action to change that, and there is no sentiment in government entities to do that for the term financial advisor in particular beyond what exists right now. So all that we can do at CFP Board is try to provide consumers with value by continuing to make the marks meaningful through improving the substance of our competency standards and the effectiveness of our enforcement. We can only control what we can control, and those are the things that we can control. So I wish I had better news for you on that front, but it's a generic term, and there's lots of places we've seen with governmental entities where they want to keep it that way.
Dan, following up on John's question, I had dinner last night with my peer from our neighbors to the north in Canada, where they have just recently had enabling legislation to ostensibly protect both financial advisor and financial planner. Without putting words in my peer's mouth, especially financial advisor, it has just become something that has been really difficult. The same with planner. So again, it's one of those, be careful what you ask for. Kamila, I think we have the last question here, or at least maybe the next to last. Scott writes, as a new CFP professional, I don't know what to do next. I feel like I've reached the top of the mountain. My firm does not provide financial planning services, but I'd like to provide pro bono plano. I don't know where to start. Where does someone go after they've passed the exam to continue training or resources? So, Kamila?
Awesome. Well, first of all, Scott, congratulations on earning your CFP certification and for your dedication to ongoing learning and, of course, giving back through pro bono service. To get started with pro bono financial planning, I encourage you to visit our website at cfp.net/pro bono. You'll find a welcome packet with information about training programs that help you prepare for pro bono service and also give you CE credit. There are many ways you can continue to grow as a financial planner. All CFP professionals are required to demonstrate their commitment to ongoing competence by completing continuing education. While the CE requirement doesn't mandate coursework in any particular topic, you may want to look for programs on the new topics that are periodically added to the CFP certification curriculum, such as the new Psychology of Financial Planning domain. You can also take advantage of opportunities to support the profession's development. So your recent experience taking the CFP exam would make you a wonderful resource for others preparing for the exam with your most recent experience. And we'd love to have you become a part of our mentorship program. And of course, we hope you will encourage your non-certified colleagues to follow your lead and become certified.
Okay, one final quick question. David writes in, where can I review CFP Board's finances? David, CFP Board's financials are posted on a website called guidestar.org. It's an organization that collects and posts financials of nearly all membership organizations, charities, etc. So go to guidestar.org. We're just about out of time. Kamila, final words from you?
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you for, the opportunity to serve as chair over the past year. At CFP Board, we're just so excited about the profession's future. Our priorities advance the value and visibility of the CFP certification for the public, for CFP professionals, and the firms that they are affiliated with. They strengthen CFP certification standing as the high standard for competent and ethical personal financial planning. And they align with the CFP professionals' priorities for CFP Board. Our mission is something that we cannot achieve on our own, and we are grateful to everyone who has shared their time, energy, and other support to our initiative. Dan?
Dan?
Yeah, I'd also like to thank everyone, the entire CFP professional community, for your support of the board and certification. I mean, at the end of the day, this only works because of the work that you do with clients each and every day, sitting down, helping them get through their financial issues and gain confidence and peace of mind and all those things that can sound cliched, but what we do matters. It matters a lot. It changes lives. So I very much appreciate all of CFP professionals for their work, their support. Our strategic plan, and we believe it will benefit the public, it'll provide value to our CFP professionals, and it's going to help advance the profession. This coming year is going to be a busy one. It's going to be some new developments. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in person whenever that opportunity arises.
Indeed, Dan. I'd like to thank both Kamila and Dan for their leadership, and in fact, thank the entire board of directors for setting such clear direction and speaking with clarity about what its priorities are and what its expectations are. In closing, thanks to all of you who joined us for today's webinar. A recording of this presentation will be posted to CFP Board's website within the next few business days, and CFP Board will follow up individually with those of you who asked questions that we did not get to during this webcast. Thank you all, and so long from CFP Board headquarters in Washington.